Okay.
Hello everybody. So right now we have the board with a very basic setup. I'm going to zero all these out. So we have, pan out a little bit, we have one microphone only and one speaker only. In a normal situation though, we would have two speakers coming out and maybe later a sub. That's another video. So here's our one microphone. And in that channel, what we've done is we've taken the board and normalized it. That was our last video, so everything was just set to 0. And then we set our main outputs here to unity, right at U. Next, we set our channel to unity. And then we go to our speakers, and we adjust those to where we think our maximum volume would be normally. So we would just kind of play with it until we get it to where it's not feeding back, but we have a nice sound out of it, and we say, okay, that's about as loud as we would want to be. And give it some really good input. I'm shouting a little bit so that you hear it, okay? So now we've kind of set our maximum threshold, okay? So you'll notice when you look at the board that the gains for these are all at 0, and that's where we like to be. We don't like to mess with these unless we have to. So we've got our channel at unity, we've got our main output at unity, and our gain is at 0, and all of our EQ is set right in the middle. I'm going to just put those back. So when we're at an event and each person goes to check their mic, what we want to do, I'm going to just adjust you out a little bit here. Let's do this. What we want to do is take that person, set up, have them check their mic over and over again, sing a little bit, and then we can make adjustments to the tone, not the volume, but the tone of their microphone. So for example, if they needed a little bit more high end, we can adjust like this and add treble. This is high frequency. This is high end. We can also remove high end, and you can hear how it gets a little muffled. So these three are for frequencies. This is mid frequency. I'm a big fan of a slight cut in mid frequency. It's not absolute, but it's a good habit. Low frequency, if it's a little boomy, you can remove that. You hear how the booming went away? That's by removing low frequency. So in this room, because there's a lot of wood and we're up close to the stage, maybe you cut that low frequency just a little bit. By the way, adjustments are better done in small increments, very small. So for this room right now, it sounds like this is a good setting with just a slight cut of the low frequency. Now, on each channel, you have the option for effects, or in this case, delay. Delay is basically echo. It's used to make the vocals sound a little fatter. It's used to kind of thicken up guitars or keyboards or other instruments. So we're going to show you what that sounds like. Now, can we pan out just a little? So over here, think of this like another board. Okay, just like this.
The orange?
Yeah, the orange is another set of mixing tools. Here's your overall output. I take that back. This is your overall volume of effects. These are the individual volume of effects. And then here's a fader that controls the overall. So we're going to put that fader up to unity just like we did on the main system. We have this knob set about halfway. And I'm going to give you a little bit of effects on this microphone to see what it sounds like. Can you hear the echo?
Yes.
Now, let's just talk about that. If this is the sound you're going for, great. If you want it to sound like the ball game, now batting, number 12. These parameters are adjusted by these two effects knobs. This one says delay. This one says repeat. So for delay, this adjusts the timing of the delay. Turn it all the way this way, and the delay is very tight and very quick. Turn it all the way this way, and the delay is very long, and there's a lot of time between the delay. So for vocals, you're somewhere around a quarter to all the way down as far as the type of delay, depending on your preference. Repeats is just what it says. It tells you how many times the delay is going to repeat. That doesn't sound very nice, does it? If you went up here, it would repeat almost endlessly. So, what do we learn from this? Both of these knobs are typically just barely up from the left side, and your settings are somewhere in this range. I say somewhere around between the first and second line for the type of delay. This is kind of mild, and then adjust your repeats down to where it's not so abrasive and it's not so confusing sounding. Okay, so that's how you use effects on this board, and that's how you add delay on this board.
Mark.
Now, yep.
Oh, one thing you said, if like we go to preaching mode.
So now the music is playing, the worship is going on, but we want to make an announcement. So you can go to the main effects fader and remove all effects from all microphones everywhere. So this is a universal fader here for any effects. So come back up here. You can increase it a little bit if you want. That is the volume of the effects. Or you can take it away. So for announcements, reading of prayer, things like that, you want to remove it. For music and other things. Now, keep in mind that for us, this delay is something that we'd use very sparingly. And also notice that as I drop this, you hear a little bit less of that delay. So if you turn it all the way up, it's very distinct. If you turn it down, it could just be a very discrete amount, if you can hear it at all, right? You can almost not hear it at all until you get about right there. So that's something that you use your individual preference, the musicians or the worshippers' individual preference, as well as the room, what the room will tolerate. And remember that you always have total control right here. Okay?
Tell about the blue for the.
Okay, so blue for monitors. If we get into a live situation where we have main speakers, but we also have a monitor speaker for the platform, this is, again, imagine it like another board. It's just like this board, but it's all blue. So if you come over here and you see the main monitor master, so that would sit somewhere about like that all the time, and then you could individually adjust each person or instrument, vocal, whatever it is, for the monitor only. In other words, this is the house or the main speakers. This is the platform or the monitor speakers.
Great. Okay.
Individual control.
What's the pan? What's the gray for?
So the pan is,
Or the black?
if you're in a room or you're at an event and you want it to be a little quieter on one speaker than the other, or the microphone not to be quite so loud in one or the other, you can adjust the pan.
Oh, okay. That's
Now,
right.
that can be accomplished here because this is left and right. Now, for our purposes, we don't have a left and right speaker connected today. But if we did, let's just imagine that this speaker was up near the stage and the other speaker was 30 feet away to get to a different area. You might want to have different volumes for that. So you
Okay.
can adjust that here. You can adjust by adjusting left or right. You'll notice that when I take the right out, nothing happens because there's no speaker there. But if I take the left out,
Yeah.
okay? So that's an overall volume adjustment for the output left and right. You can also do it individually if you say, hey, this sounds great, but for some reason that left speaker wants to feed back whenever the keyboard plays. You could go to wherever that's plugged in and you could send less to the left or more to the left depending on what your desire is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Think of it like an individual volume control for each speaker.
That's
if you will.
really awesome.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's about it.
Ah, that makes it so amazing. Thank you, Mark.
You're
This is
welcome.
wonderful.